Well, Xbox is about to talk about Project Helix in an official capacity. There will be an Xbox developer update today. They're calling it the Xbox Game Dev Update Spring 2026. Now, the reason they're calling it Spring, they are probably going to be doing more of these. We're hoping for good detail and information today from Jason Ronald, the guy with that killer long beard. He will be talking about Project Helix. Xbox continuing to try to sort of make waves in turning their reputation around and turning the brand around. Asha Sharma announcing even yesterday new startup screens coming to Xbox. The logo change. They just did another single game sort of showcase like they did with Metro. They did a Stranger Than Heaven showcase sort of reveal thing last night. People seem to really like it. Sort of like a Yakuza style game that is coming. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to another sort of informational thing about hardware from Project Helix. We would like to know some of the pressing questions. Obviously, are you going to be able to put Steam on it? That is a question that doesn't seem to be getting a concrete answer. And Asha Sharma sort of reframing what open platform means in a recent interview, talking about how open means people can make things for it or modify games, not really speaking to the fact that open platform traditionally refers to the fact that it's open in that the user can then put whatever they want on it, installing different pieces of software. So Project Helix, for me, solves a problem if I can put Steam on it. It allows me to have a PC in the living room that will, from what we gather, will be reasonably more strong or reasonably more powerful than the Steam machine. We are hearing Steam Machine is going to be available basically any day now. Steam controllers sold out rather quickly. Unfortunately, if you want to get one now, you're going to have to pay a scalper, which don't do that. Make those scalpers kind of sit and burn and make them waste their money. That's the best thing to do to scalpers is to hurt them economically. But I have always thought, having a PC in the living room that is essentially, functioning like a console would be great. There are games like Slay the Spire 2, Deep Rock Galactic, Survivor, and others that I don't need a ton of power for, but I'd like to play them in my living room. Well, Project Helix, as well as the Steam machine, could bridge that gap, but we haven't really gotten that concrete answer. In the past, Phil Spencer was very open to other storefronts coming to their stuff and to their hardware, and now Asha seemingly saying that she wasn't there for those conversations, so all of that could change. So today will likely be more addressed to developers. It's a game dev update. This is kind of similar to when you watch GDC or you see some aspect of like a presentation about an engine or a demo. We saw this with the Unreal Engine and Witcher, and we've seen this before with Bungie as well, their GDC presentations. And then the public looks at them and gets very frustrated because there's more of a frankness, there's more of a non-marketingness to it. So, yes, and we're getting reviews now coming in. Another game coming out. It's getting high scores, but it doesn't have very many reviews. It's got a mixtape, has a 95 on Metacritic, but it's only been reviewed 4 times. So we'll have to wait and see where that lands. I saw people today saying they really enjoyed it. It was getting high praise, but there is no streamer mode because it does feature copyrighted music. That is something that obviously adds to the experience. That was definitely something in Death Stranding 1 that played a significant role in the game being so good. But it also meant that you might have sections of your broadcast get muted. So good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everybody as we kind of wait for this event to get started. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Do me a favor and do that. Good morning, Hilly. All I care about is the price of the Helix, most important thing. I doubt they get into a price discussion this morning. This guy says, big mistake. Why let Xbox speak Helix? Sony has to counter ASAP. I don't think Sony has to counter this thing at all. I don't think it's going to be in the hemisphere of a cross-purchase comparison for the average consumer. Nobody's really doing cross-purchase comparisons of, $1,300, $1,200 PCs, and this is likely going to land in that hemisphere. I don't think Sony has to respond to this. Helix is beyond the PS5. Yeah, I don't think that's a concern that PlayStation or even PS5 owners have. It's going to offer a very, very different sort of approach to hardware in the living room. It's going to offer a very sort of different approach to like what exactly is the value proposition. Let me get the goal going. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. Han shot first, and so did you, getting us to 135 to start off the day. Sony has to at least hint at their PS6, though. I'm not sure if you've realized this or not, but PlayStation really doesn't play these games. They don't get into the console warring thing. There's been numerous times that people were like, oh, PlayStation needs to say this or do this or respond or blah, blah, blah. Xbox was consistently putting on what many people thought were better showcases, and then the revenue reports would come out, and the general public just doesn't care about these sorts of things. I mean, the one showcase was sort of infamous for this, the showcase that many of us were very critical of, and then PlayStation had like an amazing June right after that showcase. I think we get really trapped in this idea that these companies pay attention to this sort of thing. I don't think Sony is looking at the market right now and wanting to say a single word about their next console. They are about to have a pretty big boost in PlayStation 5 sales this year after doing a price hike, which probably is hurting them right now. But they're likely to bounce back from that because Call of Duty is leaving behind the PlayStation 4 this year, and GTA 6 is launching this year, and it will not be available on the PS4. That is going to cause the remaining 40-something million PlayStation 4 users to finally make the jump. A good portion of them will make the jump. So the last thing they want to do right now is disrupt that. They don't want to talk about the PlayStation 6. You don't want to sort of scare people off from buying the PlayStation 5. They want people buying PlayStation 5, and the last thing they want to do is to scare people off from doing that. Lono, I'm almost done with Final Fantasy 16 Platinum, and then I'll work on Sekiro. I cannot do the Platinum thing like I did it for Returnal, just because, I had over 200 hours in the game, and I was like, well, I'm this close, why not go for it? I was missing like one glyph. But yeah, I just don't look at games that way, I'm closing in on 40 hours on Sorrows. I would love for them to update the game to let you run Biome 1 all the way to the end, no interruptions, turn all the mods off, turn your whole skill tree off. I would love to do that. I might have to start a new save file to get a version of the game where like the skill tree is just completely turned off. I actually think you can do that with one of the mods and run it anyway. I don't think you have to balance it when you go negative. Like when you go not negative, but to the right on the meter or whatever. I'm in the UK. What time does it start? Oh yeah, let me get a timer going for you guys. My apologies. I usually have a nice convenient timer for you up on the screen. And let's see. When does this thing start? I believe it starts at noon, but I want to double check before I go with that. And then we will do a new stream whenever that happens. Yes, 12 p.m. Eastern. Okay, I got a handy dandy little, let's see, Xbox Dev Update. It is today, May the 7th, and it will be, it will be at noon. Set, start, and show timer. There you go. There's your countdown. So wherever you are in the world, that's when it happens. I don't know what your time zone is. I don't know what your time of day is, but you'll be able to watch the Xbox Dev Update in 2 hours and 36 minutes. You'll be able to watch it here with me. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure as you guys come in, you're hitting that like button. Go through that ritual. You're working on Control right now. I started, and then it just kind of fizzled for me. I'm close to finishing now. Returnal is next. Another game I started and then just couldn't get into it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people revisiting Returnal after Sorrows. I'm seeing a lot of people revisit Returnal. And I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised if people maybe sort of see Sorrows as the on-ramp to Returnal. Because in some ways, Returnal is a better game, and in some ways, Sorrows is a better game. I think they're very much tied. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Here's a question. If I sub here, do I get access to the Discord? Yes, you do. If you sub on Purple, you get access to the Discord. You also will not see any ads on Purple if you sub. It's a great reason to sub and watch over there. You don't get all those disruptions. And if you're watching on YouTube, I brought this up periodically. We continue to need people to pick up their own memberships on YouTube. It's just something that YouTube viewers tend to not do. That is how I do this full time. We don't do Patreon. I don't do all that off-channel stuff. We try to do everything here for you. And that's why we have the badge, the emotes, and then we use the Discord for Green Room. So, and you do get preferential treatment in the chat. When you are a member, you can submit questions with the question command, and then those questions can be featured. We're going to have something new and exciting with that command that will be limited to members. So that's a great reason to hit join and hit the $5 a month. And if you can't do that, you might get it gifted from somebody else here. We have a lot of people who gift, and I myself gift very regularly. Morning, Lono. I'm sorry if this is an off-topic question, but did you know that they changed the ABC song? I just found out, and I'm upset. I had to ask a parent. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yo, good morning, gangs. Planning on jumping back into Saros this weekend and go for the platinum. I'm only 7 away, and apparently I'm missing a weapon. And Wired Rope says, let's start the day strong. He drops a 10 bomb of members on Twitch. We are now 5 away. How are you missing a weapon, gangs? You're going for a platinum and you're missing a weapon? That's interesting. Good morning, Snake Eyes. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for having a 3-stream streak. I appreciate it very, very much. Zubair says, Lono, my mom served your coffee at her Bible club, and it was a hit. Expect some orders from little old brown ladies. Well, I welcome it, and God bless them. You know, that's awesome, Zubair. Halfway through Pragmata, such a great game. A definite contender for Game of the Year. And Broken Earth secures the 150 milestone with a 5-bomb. It's going the other direction. YouTube stealing from Twitch. Now, that's unusual because Twitch has no stream delay. And Damien, thank you so much for 7 months over there on YouTube, pushing the number forward even more. And thank you guys so much for that. Just continued support on the channel. I know I say it, and people probably think it's just something that I say. It is genuine and true and accurate. I am only able to do this because of direct viewer support. This wouldn't be possible without that. So whether it's a gift, a like, a super chat, a tip, a coffee order, it all is how I do this. So I appreciate you guys so much. Broken Earth says, take that, Wired Rope. Yo, good morning, Oreo. How are you? Looking sharp as always. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what was really weird last night? My family was gone. They were not in the house. I do not do well mentally when they're not here. I don't. Darkness just invades. And usually what I do is I'll drink and watch a bunch of shows and then eventually just like pass out from just exhaustion, right? I didn't do that last night. I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Why don't I just go upstairs around the normal time, 11:30, and I'll just sit in my bed and I'll read, and just fall asleep the normal way. And I did, and it worked. I was just sort of aware, like, as a husband and a dad, when the house is empty and quiet, that is not a great feeling. A lot of guys would be like, are you crazy? Isn't that wonderful? No, it's actually not wonderful. It really isn't. And I was like, I told them, I was like, I don't do too well when you guys aren't here. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's something weird about it. The house just feels dead or something. Had a horrible morning today. Thank you for being here and providing some escape. Well, I'm sorry you're having a horrible morning, Nick. And thank you guys so much for all of your support. You started, is that a hype train starting over there? Oh, yes, we have a hype train going over there. Hot Shot comes in with the Prime. Thank you so much. And we're already at level 4. It's the best. Sorry, you big baby. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I am a very social guy. I get energized by people. I like to be around people, and I love my family. And when they're not here, I'm like, yeah, that is not good. Like when my wife was away a couple of weeks ago just for a night, but the kids were still here, I was fine, right? I went through my routine, checked on them. They were both asleep. All is right with the world, But when I can't do that, I did not like that. If you're alone and don't have pets, every noise becomes a what was that? Yeah. I tried to watch like a movie in bed to like fall asleep to, and it just wasn't working. I was like, all right, let me just read. Time to get a third child on it before the older ones start moving out. No. I'll be 45 this year, dude. No. I'm not about to be in my 60s at a high school graduation, brother. That's my kid up there. Oh, I'm 63 and so proud. No. Nope. Not doing it, dude. No, thank you. I have over 40 platinums. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. I'm trying to think. What's the count to now? Let's see. How many games have I completed this year? 15. I've completed 15 games this year. I'm averaging about 3 games a month. I am including Pragmata and Saros and Dead Zone Rogue in that. Those are some of the ones I just recently finished. Yeah, I put more time into gaming probably this year than I ever have. So it's been fun. A lot of more games with Madam. You know, now we're winding down Dead Zone Rogue. Like, we finished Dead Zone Rogue, but we're going back and doing some of the side stuff, like the side missions. And then we're going to do... I don't know what we're going to do next. I don't know. I have a couple games that we might try. As your kids get older, you will enjoy the quiet house. Believe me, mine's 14. I don't know, man. Mine are 10 and 12, brother. Mine are 10 and 12. My house is loud and boisterous, and my son never shuts up. He's just like me. He's super verbose. He's a talker. He drives my wife and my daughter crazy, and I absolutely love him. He's just a little version of me making them nuts. Like, would you just shut up, bro? And I'm like, he can't. He does not have the ability. I didn't like it. I didn't like them being gone. I mean, I enjoyed having uninterrupted time, but I just got work done. You know what I mean? I was just playing and writing and working on stuff, and I was just like, yeah, I didn't, you know. And then I played a bunch of Saros, and then I watched a movie, and I ordered Chipotle. Like, I really cut loose, you know. It's clear Lono is very extroverted. They're built different from us introverts. Yeah. If you introverts are like, yeah, that sounds wonderful, a night with nobody around. You're like, that sounds wonderful. What's the matter with you, Lono? I get energized by people. I love being around people. He's gonna take your mantle as Reforge Jr. one day. That's right. I've already got some ideas for him with content when he's old enough to make the decision, and when he's an adult. I will encourage him to not do it, or at the very least not show his face. Yeah. My kids have kids. I don't need any more. Can't anyway. There you go. My kids are 4, 6, and 8. All boys, all crazy. Oh, yeah, that's a house of noise. That is a house of noise. Jumps and crashes. No one walks. Everyone runs everywhere, you know. No one has a volume knob on their mouth. It's just, everyone's loud. Oh, man. You gotta love kids, man. Boys are loud, you know. Girls are not quite as loud. They do have that in their favor. Are the kids calling you stupid and out of touch yet? No, they haven't done that yet. Not yet. I'm sure they will. At some point in the future. I've never allowed running in the house. A while ago, I don't know what we were watching or what we were listening to. We were influenced by somebody that basically said, don't scold them for things that are just being a child. Like if they're loud, or if they're playing loud, or having fun. Don't scold them for that. Scold them for being unkind or disobedient. Like, you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's fine to have a proper and managed home where, like, kids aren't running around and crashing into things. But, like, we try to do that. It's extremely difficult because it gets annoying. It's like, you're being loud, stop, or you're running around, stop. But at the same time, we try to balance that out. These days, once the weather gets nice, it's like, just go outside. Like, can you please just go outside? Oh my gosh, please go outside. Like, run around the yard. Oh my word. You know what I mean? There's only so much space in the house. Me and my brother created an indoor soccer league in our living room. That's the way to do it. Our house is very lived in. We do not keep a neat and tidy home. We don't. It's too stressful to try to keep a neat and tidy home with children. It'll just stress you out. We have a lived-in home. It's a home full of mess and mirth, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It was too quiet last night. The girls become much worse. Oh, don't worry. My daughter is 12, and she's a miniature version of Madam, so she's a pistol and a half, and she is mouthy. Oh, she's mouthy. She is so rude. We're working on it. It's like, kid, do you hear yourself? Oh, my word. Like, you're so snippy. Mouthy. Oh, yeah, she talks back on everything now. Everything. She has an opinion on everything. Just do it. Just do the thing. Just put your shoes on. Like, just do the thing. You know, we don't need your opinion or back talk. We're just trying to go to the store. We banned TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook from our kid. It was hard for a few weeks. Oh, yeah. All that stuff's going to be super locked down for us. Yeah. They're very excited about their tablets. They don't know they're here. How bad are the bathrooms? Our bathroom that we share with the boys, not bad. Our daughter's bathroom gets kind of bad, but, you know, it's not terrible. Yeah. Whenever I would go and stay with my brother, the bathroom that his boys all shared was terrifying to go into. It was like, it's like walking into a public bathroom. It's like, this is a disaster. It is a bit much, dude. It's a bit much. It's like, wow, you guys are a disaster in here. Yeah, my daughter's the oldest. Yeah, 12 and 10. My daughter's 4 years older, and her brother and boy, we see that are, yes, huge differences. Yes. They annoy each other constantly now. He's like me. He wants to talk and play. He just wants to be around people, and he wants to talk, constantly talk. And my daughter doesn't mind talking. She's a talker as well, but sometimes she just wants some space, and she's like, stop. So it's like she uses earbuds now. She uses earbuds and listens to an audiobook to kind of tune him out. She needs a break. She needs a break from him. Any thoughts on the start? Yeah, what was that, by the way? What was that? Nintendo's just like, we totally forgot to tell you guys that we're going to do a Star Fox Direct and announce a Star Fox 64 remake, which I love Star Fox 64. Me and my brothers played it all of the time. When I saw the tank, I got so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, it looks great. At first, I was a little disappointed that it wasn't a brand new game. I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, why wouldn't you do a brand new game? But it's been so long, I'm kind of like, you know what? I probably am going to barely remember any of it anyway. I'll remember parts, like the tank. And, you know, Slippy getting into trouble. But I'm like, dude, give me that right now. And it comes out in 2 months. I think, what is it, $50 digital? I'm like, let's go. I'm there. I know people are complaining. That's just what we do now. We complain about everything. But I'm like, it's a remake of a classic, and it's been such a long time. It's a Nintendo 64 game. Like, if you're going to remake a game, at least, you know, go back and grab the classics. Can we get Super Metroid next, you know? Star Fox 64 is why I play shooters inverted. We're going to see what Helix looks like today. I don't know. I'll make a prediction. The speed at which Xbox is trying to kind of turn things around, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a prototype. Like a shell prototype. You know, it wouldn't shock me if they have something like that. In our first episode, this is what they say. We'll review updates from GDC, including the introduction of Project Helix with Chris Charla and Jason Ronald, a roundup of the newest Xbox developer tools from Travis Bradshaw, Shawn Hargreaves, recap of the DirectX State of the Union, including a deep dive into DirectStorage, a look at what's coming to the Xbox Marketplace, and Xbox at GDC highlights from Annette Porter. Yeah, it's... Joker Quinn comes in with a single gifted. Thank you so much. It gets us to 153. When is Helix rumored to launch? Next year. Late next year would be my guess. Around holiday, I'm thinking. So it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a mixed show. I don't think it's entirely Helix. I think that's primarily what the public's going to be looking for. It's also targeting developers. This is not targeting the public, but they're kind of bridging that gap. You know what I mean? Time to get more coffee and feed the dogs? Do it. I don't like remakes. To me, it kind of feels like they reskin the old games and add some content here instead of making new stuff. That can be your feeling. I don't agree with your feeling. I think completely differently about it. If it's been completely remade, I'm there. Like, Assassin's Creed Resynced looks fantastic. It doesn't look like they just kind of reskinned an old game. We also just yesterday, you can go back and use the timestamp, they have made significant changes to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Significant. And then there's like The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Probably one of the best remakes I've played. And then we've got this Star Fox one. I don't know. I think when they do the work, I think what you're describing is a remaster. I don't want to play a remaster where they take the old game, they make it look a little bit better, like they up the resolution and some textures and stuff. And I'm like, okay. That game is still going to feel like an old game. I'm not interested at all in remasters of super old games because I'm not looking to play super old games. That's just not my jam. I'll play them for a little bit for the nostalgia, and then I get pretty bored. I mean, I played GoldenEye for 20 minutes. It was a wonderful trip down memory lane, and I just got bored. I was like, yeah, I'm just not interested in this. I'm not. Yeah, the Resident Evil 4 remake was top-notch. People loved it. I really like the Resident Evil 2 remake. I didn't vibe with RE4 remake. It just didn't speak to me as much as RE2's remake. But yeah, I think remakes can be fantastic if done properly, especially if a lot of time has passed. But if you're talking about remasters, then I actually agree with you. Remasters are not that interesting to me. Remasters are like, yeah, here's an old game. The controls and the movement are still going to feel clunky and awkward, but we made the resolution a little bit higher. You know, they did that with that Tomb Raider collection. Those tank controls for Lara Croft they just feel terrible. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't want to play a game where I have to like retrain my brain. Well, I remember this from 20 years ago. No, I want a game to feel like now. Ocarina of Time. Yeah, that'd be a great remake. I'd almost want them to, I don't know. I'd almost want them to do that. Well, they wouldn't want to add content to it. I would just love another game like Breath and Tears, like in that vein. You know what I mean? They might do a third one in that vein, given how successful those two games were. I would just like a new map. I would like a new map. I think on my upcoming Florida trip, I'm going to take my Switch, and I think I'm just going to play a junk ton of Zelda whenever I get an opportunity, and I'm going to see if I don't know how much time I'll be able to put in. I'll be able to get at least, a couple of hours there and back in the airport, which is probably not enough time to really do anything. But that's not enough time to do anything in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I'll also take my Portal and test some of the cloud streaming. You can cloud stream Sorrow, so I want to kind of see how that one feels, because you can certainly get some of the grind. I did a run last night and got like 20 Halcyon. That's what I'm working on now, is getting all the Halcyon. The big issue with the old game is the controls and the input, says Zubair. We are used to a certain quality in modern games. Yes, you're used to a certain amount of responsiveness from the characters. You're used to a certain amount of just precision. I mean, Star Fox looked better on the Wii in Smash than this new game. I've seen really big fans be critical of what he looks like. I don't really have a strong opinion. To me, he looks like he did in the movie, and my kids and I loved the movie, and I got excited when he showed up. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. We had a great time at the Mario movie together as a family, and to me, he kind of looks like that. He looks like he's in that style, and I'm looking forward to it. I just want to play it. I don't know. I have reached a point this year especially where I am finding it difficult with games in particular. Like yesterday, I was obviously critical of Xbox, and I'm calling people to be skeptical. But when it comes to the games, I find it really difficult to complain about them. If you don't like a particular game that comes out, or maybe a game comes out and it doesn't look like you're going to enjoy it, okay? Maybe you're like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that. To me, that's fine, because there's so many games coming out. They sound too different from the Nintendo 64 version. I'd have to go back and listen. It's been so long. I've just joined what was announced. Star Fox for the Nintendo Switch 2. It comes out in June. And they just did a surprise Star Fox Direct yesterday. The movie vibe was better. Yeah, he definitely has a better vibe. That's also a poster where everything's made to look, perfect. and in a video game model that's moving around, and you can like actually have it look at the camera and, you know, follow your facial movements, you're gonna lose a little bit of that spit shine of a movie. It is a remake of Star Fox 64, and there are people that are not happy about that. There are folks like myself who are very happy about that. I love Star Fox 64, and I can't wait. I thought after Saros I could take a break from gaming until 007 comes out, and Mixtape just said, yeah, not happening, Chief. Yeah, once I've reached a satisfactory point with Saros, I'm going to go back to Mouse PI. I'll probably be using my portal to work on Mouse PI while I'm gone. I really, really hope that PlayStation handheld, you know, is real, and it's probably not coming this year. That would be so nice to have, because I'd have my save, I'd have my, you know, my little Chivos trophies and all of that, and I'd be able to just take it and play. The portal, unfortunately, and I obviously need internet, which I'll have, you know, at my in-laws' house, but yes, you can get a Nintendo 64 controller. Hang on, my wife finally answered me. I was like, how did everybody sleep? And she sent the yawning emoji. There we go. Okay, well, she didn't sleep very well. I mean, I anticipated that. They're at a thing for kids. So I figured as much. Did you already roll credits on Pragmata? Oh, yeah, I made sure to do that before Saros came out. I got close to 30 hours out of Pragmata. After I finished it, I did all the post-game challenges. You go back and like fight all the bosses, and then you do like these 10 challenge rooms or whatever. I did that, and then beat the final boss again, and got the extra thing at the end. I'm impressive as a tourist. I do quite a bit of gaming. But yeah, I played it. And I loved it. I think it's one of my favorite. I kept telling people it's got to be one of the best new IPs I played since Returnal. Yeah, I got the secret ending, yes. I think it's one of the best new IPs I played since Returnal and Expedition 33. We've got some amazing new IPs this gen. Returnal, Expedition 33, and Pragmata to me they're just fantastic. They're so good. They're creative, ambitious. They're polished. You know, well, there were elements of Expedition 33 that weren't polished, but at least the fighting was just so great in that. That art direction was just special. It's just been great. I think gaming has just gotten into such a great place, you know. I think the angry, ragey, complain about everything, you know, I think that content and viewpoint, I just think that's going to run out of gas in the next probably in the next 12 to 18 months. It's going to be harder and harder to run that narrative. Because I just think people are going to be like, dude, games are pretty awesome. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I got the Jedi Survivor in Control on the docket now that I've finished and passed my finals. Oof, you are in for just such a great little run of games. I liked both of those games. Now, Jedi Survivor obviously had to fix some issues on console, but when they did, just such a wonderful game and such a great Star Wars story. I'm really anxious in the third game. I'm hoping they bring a certain person back from the first game. Control is wonderful. I replayed that this year and just absolutely loved every minute of it. I'm very excited for Control Resonance. I think it looks fantastic. Disagree. Angry people can find things to be angry about, and they enjoy being angry. Yeah, I guess I don't want to take their enjoyment away then, Zubair. If they like being angry, it's like, okay, sorry, just be angry. Go stub your toe on purpose, for frick's sake, you know? Just stay in a fit of rage. I'm trying to finish the challenge rooms for the secret ending, but my kids keep bugging me to play Division 2 almost every night. I mean, that's a good problem to have, though, playing games with your kids. That's not bad. You only need to do the 10 challenge rooms to get the secret ending, bro sexy. The challenges that you do for, like, the little computer guy, I got 29 out of 30 done, and on the 30th one, you have to go all the way up to the top, whatever, and you have to, like, take no damage. And I got all the way up close to the end, and I was like, dude, I'm not grinding this to do no damage. Like, I did it, but I was like, I'm not grinding this to do no damage for, like, the perfect score. I was like, it's just going to make me mad. I was like, I'm out. Like, I tapped out. I was like, I'm not doing it. I did every challenge up to that point. I got the crown, where you do, like, all 3 challenges at the exact same time. I was like, I am not going to go for the crown on this one. There are too many games making people happy. Our community is fragmented. It's part of our master plan to destroy society. That's right. How do you get the second ending in Sorrows? I'm not going to spoil anything. After you beat the final boss in Sorrows, just go to the door. That's all I'll say. That's the secret ending. The grift against Sorrows is pretty exaggerated. Oh, yeah. I just muted that tweet yesterday. I was like, it's a download report. I don't think people understand that a game that got probably most of its downloads, because you could probably preload and download if you did you could preload and download if you were playing early access, so 3 days. It had 3 days in April to download if you were preloading and playing early. If you were preloading or downloading to play day of, it had 1 day for people to do that. 1 day. And I'm like, it launched on the last day of April. It's in 11th place on the download report for the US. I think it did just fine. I think it'll be fine when it has an entire month to be on the download report. And I was like, it's not a sales report. It's a download report. So it's literally just measuring downloads, which, again, it launched on a Thursday. That probably hurt it as well. Probably way more people downloaded it on like a Friday or something. They ordered it, and then the week is over, and then they download it over the weekend, right? Preload, sure, could make up a good portion. We don't really know the percentage of people that preload. But again, it wasn't even available for more. Its launch date was literally 1 day in the month. And I'm like, I don't know why people are so excited. They were like, oh, if it's sold, they would say. And I'm like, they didn't do that with Yote until they had an earnings call. They've not been doing that. They don't come out and do like the images. Thank you so much for 1.5 million in sales. They've not been doing that. They haven't. Some companies do. You know, Capcom's doing it with Pragmata. Crimson Desert was doing it. Pearl Abyss was doing it with Crimson Desert. That's great. I think it's fine when companies celebrate sales milestones. But PlayStation's not been doing that. Like, these people put so much stock into like a social media post, and then the funny thing is they'll put more stock into a social media post that is not based on any publicly viewable data. It's just a claim, which the companies aren't going to lie, obviously. But they'll put more stock into a social media post than an earnings call. Like, that's the level of intelligence you're dealing with. It's like, yeah, they won't put out an image that says they sold out 1.2 million or 1.5 million. But then you listen to an earnings call where they're like, yeah, it sold very well, we're very pleased, profitable, outsold previous game, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, yes, but you see, they care about what we have said, and that's why they're saying that. It's like, yes, I'm so sure that a high-ranking Japanese executive cares about your freaking tweets. Yes, they're so rattled by your grift. It's like, Jiminy Christmas. Hang on, my wife's asking how I slept. I'm like, actually really well, thankfully. And a 10 bomb comes in from Ginger Prime. Ginger, just on the week now, regularly dropping big member bombs here. Y'all need to answer the call here. You can't be letting Ginger come in here and do that. This guy's, he's busy. He is a working man. He's probably on a conference call right now. Good morning, chat. Going to be a fun day. Looking forward to the Xbox event to see what they want to show. Thank you, Ginger. And Perfect Image is trying to harness or get a farty bomb in the chat. When is Sony's earnings call? There's some kind of an earnings presentation at like 3 in the morning tonight, Eastern. And thank you for the Prime resub, Kirahi, over there on Purple, adding to the total. Thank you, sir. I think Mr. Ronald will talk about how the new tools they have to help bridge the gap between devs and porting issues that plague the Xbox Series X and S. I believe less games will skip Xbox going forward. Well, and thank you, Siege, for bumping the line by 1. Siege Master tempting that 10-bomb dunker to 175. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. I mean this with love. How the frick can you skip Xbox if it's a PC, brother? D-Tom comes in with a 5-bomb to get us to 170. Who's going to skip it? It's going to be a PC, bro. Their way of getting people to not skip Xbox, according to your logic, I mean, it's a PC. So, yeah, you're not going to have to make an Xbox version. Now, you can certainly make a version of the game that's optimized for the chipset combination in the Helix. you can make sure that it works well on that, but there's not going to be like some Xbox dev kit that you're going to need. Like there wasn't a dev kit for the ROG Ally X. I don't know if they're going to, I don't know what the dev kit for the Helix is even going to look like. Are they just going to ship them a Helix so that they can optimize for the chipset? I really don't know. They're saying things that feel contradictory. Like, do you need a dev kit? Because they made a GDC presentation about how, like, you're going to build for PC first. If you're going to help people build for PC first, then what does a dev kit for the Helix look like? I'm genuinely curious about that. I don't know if they're going to speak to that today or not. Because a dev kit is usually, here's basically a version of the console so that you can build for this and test on this. Slowly moving up. Hey, thank you so much for a 15 stream streak, Teller. That's a lot. We're exactly 5 away from me owing you guys a member. Who's going to steal it? Is it going to be Twitch or YouTube? Microsoft is going to steal Dell's old advertising. You're getting a PC, bro. Skip Xbox. How many games outright skipped Xbox that really mattered? Honest question. It's not about whether or not they mattered, Jakob. It's about the fact that it was becoming a growing problem. Like, more, especially as this gen comes to an end, it's going to continue to rear its head. I just think you're going to continue to see people go like, why would we spend time building for Series S? It wasn't Xbox's fault as a brand. Like, we don't like Xbox. It was the Series S. So going forward, the standing order will be to just basically build for PC. Still asking how many? I don't have the count, brother. There were so many games that one time. There were like 3 or 4 back-to-back games that were saying they were going to come late. And then just this year, there were at least 2 games that basically were like, we're not building for Xbox. They just decided to not do it. Delayed does not mean skipped. Well, I don't have the difference in my head. I don't know. There were a handful that delayed, and there were a handful that skipped. And the concern was skipping was going to become more prominent. Their hardware saturation and their hardware distribution is freaking terrible, and you're also having to deal with the Series S. So there were at least 2 games just this year that said they're no longer making the Xbox version. They're just not going to do it. They've just decided not to. There are other games that have basically said that in a nicer way. That like, well, we're focusing on, these platforms now, and, that's where we're going to have our focus be. One of the biggest games delayed for Series S was Baldur's Gate. Right, so like, I think maybe we're missing the point here. It's not that there was like this ocean of games that skipped. It's that it started, every problem always starts small. And it started with, oh, they're going to come late. And then, oh, they're going to come without certain features. And then, oh, they're going to skip. Like, it started to grow and manifest as I said that it would, and I was told that I was just being a hater. I told people, I said, you're going to have studios start skipping that ecosystem. They're going to. Because when they show up late, they get passively blamed by the audience and by Microsoft. The games they played, the way Phil Spencer handled the interview about Larian, and then the way the Microsoft spokesperson tried to play this goofy passive game, insinuating there was some kind of deal with Black Myth Wukong, and there wasn't a deal with Black Myth Wukong. You're either going to get blamed or there's going to be conspiracy theories. Well, do you really want to go to a platform late? Just skip it all together if that's going to be the response. A huge delay of exactly 1 year. What do you mean? That's you're acting like that's not a big deal. That's basically timed exclusivity, and it didn't cost anything. Like, that's basically timed exclusivity, Jakob. You got to be reasonable, brother. Imagine buying a console and finding out that because of Microsoft's decision making, you're getting games sometimes 6 months to a year late. Not because of an exclusivity deal, but because they have to do extra work. That's literally something that Xbox historically leveraged to make their console look better. They had like a year of exclusivity with Tomb Raider and other games like that back then. They were literally leveraging timed exclusivity as a way to get people to their console. And then this generation, you had timed exclusivity like de facto. It wasn't even paid for. It's like, gee, money, Christmas. That's a problem. Chris Dring came back from the GDC the one year, and he said that developers weren't even sure they wanted to ship to Xbox anymore because nobody knew what Xbox was doing. There are ramifications to having declining sales of hardware, but there's also ramifications of like not signaling a very clear vision for like where your platform is going. Imagine you're a developer and you're watching Xbox actively encourage their user base to leave Xbox. People are tweeting, they're complaining, they're going to PC, and they're going to PlayStation. Do you want to build for a platform that's actively doing that? Xbox was actively doing things that was driving people away from the console. So you're literally watching consumers like move, and you're like, well, why would we have to do extra work for that ecosystem? And they're actively shrinking their ecosystem. I don't have a dog in the fight, but a year to the exact day was just eyebrow raising to me, that's all. Oh, you're talking about the Black Myth thing. Well, that was... People didn't realize they liked that date. That date was special to them. They were constantly dropping trailers on that date. It was a date that was special to them. It had nothing to do with an exclusivity deal. That literally got debunked. That has been debunked. They do that because of the significance of the date. The Black Myth Wukong. The thing that has been, I think, the most frustrating about covering that brand is all the conspiratorial, weird, propagandistic nonsense we always have to hack through when we talk about this brand. I don't deal with this when I talk about Nintendo. Now, people get a little weird and act like, oh, it'll be fine. But it's like, no, it's not. Nintendo's facing similar problems right now of games coming to their platform late. Everybody wants a piece of the Nintendo Switch 2 pie, but they're having a hard time getting games over there. Now we're hearing 007 might be delayed again on the Switch, too. That's going to be a continued struggle with that platform this gen. Is a bunch of executives said, we need to be on that system, and the devs are like, what? Like, how? We didn't build for that. Alapark with 45 months in a VIP bumps the line by 1. 45 months. Also, some devs said that they couldn't get responses from Xbox for issues that they needed resolved in order to launch their game. Hopefully they speak on a streamlined process today as well. It also makes zero sense. Exclusivity is a marketable thing. You wouldn't keep it a secret. Yeah, let's do an exclusivity deal that we never once leveraged from a marketing perspective. One of the biggest and most talked about games. Like, oh, also, lest we forget, Black Myth Wukong was insanely popular in China, and we know for a fact PlayStation's trying to break into the Chinese market. Shuhei Yoshida confirmed this. The Chinese Hero Project confirms this. So they wouldn't leverage an exclusivity deal with Black Myth Wukong to try to grow their footprint in China. They would have done combo units. They would have done marketing. They would have done ads. They would have done trailers. A $5 super chat from, and now your mama knows it's the cowboy himself. My preference for PlayStation is it has the most access to games. Just think no other platform this year will have Wolverine, the Halo remake, and GTA 6. I think it's a perfectly good strategy. If you want, if you don't want to miss out on the games. Now, you do miss out on some games, though. You miss out on games like Slay the Spire and Mugenics and other big, PC titles that don't come to console right away. You have to wait. Now, if you're okay to wait on those, that's fine. Wukong helped Sony sell 2.5 million units in China. Lono, there were several studios who said there's no reason to put a game on Xbox unless it's on Game Pass because people don't buy them. There were some studios that spoke out and said that, yes. Now, to be fair, there were also studios that said Game Pass can be very helpful because it's just it gets a lot of awareness and a lot of eyes on your game. It's a case-by-case basis, but I think more and more people were seeing the veneer fade on exactly, how much of a benefit it was to be on Game Pass. I think that ship just started to sail for them because people started to see it's not as great as it used to be. We also had Devolver Digital and another outlet speaking to the fact that the offers were getting smaller. The offers were getting smaller. They weren't getting as big of offers because there's less return of investment on Game Pass, so they're not going to offer smaller studios and smaller games and third-party devs. They're not going to offer them as much money as they traditionally did. That's across the board, by the way. Then when they said that, they were also speaking about PlayStation. The offer to be on a subscription service is getting smaller because the subscription services are plateauing. They're getting less ROI. You think a lot of Crimson Desert sales are in Asia? I don't know. I don't know the breakdown. Pragmata was so odd. It released April 17th for all platforms. It released a week later physically on the Switch 2. Was available already digitally. It was so bizarre. That could be related to anything. That could be related to production lines. That could be related to the tariffs and shipping and stuff right now. There's global situations that could have just impacted the physical stuff. You know what I mean? There could have been some tanker somewhere with stuff on it. Not a tanker, but like a ship or something. They could have been sitting on some ship. It got debunked by the devs, and Jez Corden still kept saying it was a secret deal. I don't think he continued to say it was a secret deal. He, on a podcast, said he heard there was a deal, and he literally said, I feel like I remember seeing the clip. He was like, turns out the details of the deal were PlayStation helped them get the game ready for PlayStation. That was the deal. There was no exclusivity deal. There was nothing. I don't think there was money that exchanged hands. There was no marketing agreement, no arrangement. The deal was PlayStation assisted them. That's all it was. He said that on a podcast. He clarified what the deal was. He's like, I heard there was some kind of a deal. Now we know what the deal was. And then that was the end of it. He didn't keep pushing the issue. He didn't. He did not keep pushing the issue. There were fans that kept pushing the issue. Stop defending Jez. I'm not defending Jez. I'm defending truth and accuracy. You'll get that a lot here. What do you mean? I distinctly remember him saying that on a podcast. He did not keep running with the notion that there was a secret exclusivity deal. He simply reported what he had heard. Somebody told him there was a secret exclusivity deal. And then he said on a podcast, well, now we know what the details are. PlayStation helped them ship it to the PlayStation. That's not a deal. That's not an exclusivity deal, no. An exclusivity deal is, we want the game exclusive on our console for a period of time. Let's develop a contract. There's a marketing deal. There's usually money that exchanges hands at that point. This was not an exclusivity deal. It was, we are having a hard time getting this game ready for console, and PlayStation engineers said, allow us to help you. You can clearly see the game wasn't ready for console. It shipped and had a bunch of problems. It did not run well on console day one. It was obvious that that was what was going on. It was, and that's why it couldn't come to Xbox. A $5 super chat from Hidden Siriu. Microsoft is a juggernaut with unlimited money, but also an underdog that everyone bullies. It's Schrodinger's victim. Sony is helping Ember Lab also, the Kana guys. Yeah, secret marketing deal. How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. The game worked like crap, still does. Let's move on. Yo, good morning, RC Young. How are you? As you guys come in, make sure you're hitting the like button. Make that your ritual whenever you get to the stream. Give it a like and just say good morning or hello or put an emote in chat. That actually helps me out quite a bit. You could say a game you're looking forward to this year. You could bring up a gaming topic, maybe something that you saw in the Twitter feeds or the YouTube feeds for us to talk about. We're waiting for the Xbox developer update. They're doing an Xbox dev update here in a little bit. Oh, this Helix update makes me want to buy it, says Feet on Land. It'll be interesting to see when new games are announced from third-party games for Helix. Will it say coming to Xbox and PC or just PC? I don't know. That's a good question, Illuminati Owl. Think about it from this perspective. They have a branded box that you don't really need to make games for, because it's going to be a PC. I think YouTube's been hiding Reforge from me for a while. I haven't seen you post in a minute. They've been making platform-wide changes, and we've had people say, like, I've not seen your videos in a while. Just make sure you could, like, unsub and resub, and you could also hit the bell button. You could also hang out in our Discord. You don't even have to be a member. If you're in the Discord, you'll get pings and announcements whenever I go live. Well, we have an announcements room that, like, everybody can see. So, whatever it just says Xbox, I don't know. I love that Lono reads the comments without paying for every single text row. I feel like he's the only one that does that. Yeah, I've had people super chat me because, like, I don't answer their question, and I always tell them, you do not need to super chat me to get interaction from me. The only thing that I regularly ask for is consider becoming a member. It's $5 for the entire month, and that is literally the thing that I need to do this full time. I don't do the pay super chats to talk to me. The chat set to sub only just to keep bots out. Subbing is free on YouTube. Members are the ones that are the $5. It's confusing because it's a sub on Twitch and it's a member on YouTube. That's why they say Xbox PC. Yeah, the terminology Xbox PC started floating around. Maybe that's what they'll say. I don't know. You notice the new boot up doesn't say Xbox? I don't think that's significant. I don't think that is significant. It's $6? No, it's $5. Member Plus is $6, but we don't. Listen, we were focusing on Member Plus for a while. Member Pluses certainly have an advantage at times because, like, we can set up things in the Discord and give you guys preferential access to, like, a community game night and stuff. We can give you guys, like, early dibs. But really, we just need folks hitting join, picking 5, and just adding to that total. We've been trying to get to 600 members for the longest, and we just can't. It just sits. It's the same. It's basically that same core group. So I get it. I know memberships are like, they're like taboo on YouTube. It's very weird that people are very, very much against them. But yeah. Go for Member Plus. I will just say that on other I'll just say on other platforms. Stanley Buffington says Jez believes what Xbox tells him. That's why he didn't know they were porting games to PlayStation. You understand how that works, right? That, like, he has a contact at Xbox that for years gave him reliable information. And when everything about the brand was changing, his contact person didn't know yet. Is it that hard for you to understand how that played out? Is it that difficult? Like, for years, he was given information that was accurate and on target, right? For years, he was able to do that. He was able to talk to this person, and he was able to say, hey, what's going on? And they said, here's what's going on. And then he could come to the public and say, my contacts at Microsoft have confirmed this, okay? Over the span of his time in writing, you could probably find more articles that said that are dead on accurate compared to whenever they made that tectonic shift, whenever they were making the shift to say, we're not putting games just on Xbox anymore, we're going to shift this strategy. Whoever his contacts were, they were late to know. They were late to know. Like, I got a DM from Paris Lily that literally said, hey man, my contacts are telling me Starfield's not going. I'm just trying to help you out. And then, like, 48 hours later, he DM'd me and said, I'm actually hearing different now. Sorry about that. Do you see how that works? These guys have contacts. They have people in the know. Those people were late to find out because nobody knew this was coming if they weren't at the top level. Anybody mid-level and down had no idea this was coming. That's why if you remember the earliest leaks about Xbox and putting games on other platforms, do you remember what the leaks were? Do you remember? It was, they're having conversations and everything's on the table. Well, that rippled through the entire company, and that started hitting leaks, and that started hitting different sources. That's how it worked. It was like, wait, they're considering Halo? They're considering everything? And people brushed it off. People said, no way. They're never going to do that. Gears, Forza, and Halo? They're not going to do that. People didn't believe it. Because initially, it was just being discussed at the upper echelons. Then the decision came down. So yes, they were wrong. And yes, they went out, some of them, and they just very boldly claimed, this is never going to happen. And then the reality hit. And it was like, oh. I mean, what are you going to do? You going to flog a man for the rest of his life for being wrong? I guess we all have to go through that then. You're misremembering the timeline, bro? No, I'm not. I've covered this full time, and you're just a crap stirrer. You come in here and just want to stir crap and talk bad about people. I don't respect people like you. I don't. I know the timeline. I covered it. I literally covered it. There were people like Jez and others who reached out to their contacts and were told, no, we're not doing that. What are you talking about? I haven't heard anything about us putting games on PlayStation and Nintendo. And then it hit. And then they all said, well, we got that one wrong. Apparently they are putting everything. Apparently they are moving everything. Come on, man. No, you've done this before. You come in and want to run your mouth about other men. I think it's pathetic. No one's talking crap. You are. What do you mean? Look in the mirror. Look at your chat history. This isn't the first day you've done this. Everybody has sources, and they're only as good as the information they have at that moment in time. So when somebody says, yeah, according to my sources, that's not happening, and that source doesn't have the new information yet, you want to have a go at the person that reported it. And it's like, they're just telling you what they heard. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. All they're doing is saying, this is what I've been told. They need better contacts. Well, I mean, you can only have so many contacts at a company. Like, you can't pull up, a Rolodex of information and be like, okay, let me call Satya and see what's going on. Usually they get contacts by going to conferences, meeting people, shaking hands, and then they follow each other on Twitter, or they exchange contact information, and then they reach out to that person and say, hey, what's going on? We're hearing these rumblings. And that person's like, I haven't heard anything. And so they'll come out and say, yeah, my contacts at Xbox say that this is not happening, or they haven't heard anything about this. You have to understand what happened with Xbox as a brand, and why so many people got this wrong, and why so many people's sources were wrong. It was a seismic change for the entire company that was not the original plan. So nobody knew it was happening until it was literally happening. There were Xbox employees that found out about this roughly within the same timeline as we all did. Just because I'm going at a known shill who admits he's a shill, okay, bro, and that's your last day here. I'm done with people like you. If you want to come in and insult people and call them shills, find somewhere else to hang out and take your frickin' badge with you. I don't want people like you here. We are trying to completely change the vibe around these topics, and having a go at every single person that's out there and wanting to call them names, you can find somewhere else to hang out. There are plenty of channels that want to do that. They want to just call people names and make toxic content about others. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I've disagreed with Jez a number of times. I've even been critical of his one interview. Publicly and privately to him have said, I didn't think he handled that one interview well. I can be critical of a man without calling him a name, or without acknowledging the reality of how sources work. There are tons of people right now, whether it's, Insider Gaming or Chris Dring or VGC or Steven Totillo or Jez Corden or Middle-Aged Gamer Guy. They have sources, they have people they can contact, and they can have people that they reach out to. They do. That information being faulty or in error or ever changing, that's the fabric of this industry. That is the fabric of this industry. So I'm not going to have a go at somebody because their information was wrong. I think what you need to do is you need to develop a framework. If you're going to be consuming content, develop a framework of, did this person bring me bad information, or did they bring the information to me badly? Do you see the difference? Did this guy just get bad info, or did he bring the information to me in a bad way? When bias shapes the way you deliver something, like for the longest time, like when we were covering things in a more like PDF file, like I had to go grab PDFs and files and documents and all this stuff, and I would comb through everything and be like, okay, so that's everything that happened, and now here's what I think. I had this sharp line of difference. Now I don't do it quite as pronounced, but I'll be like, so here's what happened, here's what I think, okay? Instead of, here's what happened, and I like obfuscate and hide things or contort things to make it look a certain way. That's me delivering information in a bad way. I could deliver information to you that's bad. It could just be bad intel. I could be like, yeah, I heard this. I got somebody I trust. This is what they told me is going on. And then it ends up being bad info. Well, that doesn't mean I'm out here lying or shilling or trying to mislead the public. I got bad info. That happens. That is a totally normal thing. And I'll typically circle back and say, hey, we ended up getting that one wrong. But if I come to you with factual information, I'll give you an example, okay? I'll give you an example. When IGN intentionally misquoted PlayStation's earnings call, that's giving you information badly. It's giving you information in a poor way. It's not bad information. It's not like they were given a bad transcript or something. They intentionally reworded what PlayStation said because they knew it would drive click rate and engagement, because they've become a joke of an outlet. They have good people that write for them. We had Erica on. I've read plenty of reviews over there at IGN from people that I think do good work. But as an outfit, their standards are in the toilet when you will intentionally misquote someone's earnings call. That's giving you information that's delivered in a bad way. It's like they're contorting the information to make you think something that isn't true. Thank you, Wreck and Havoc, for a 70 stream streak. That's insane. 70 streams in a row. Now, the infamous tweet where Jez says, no, Xbox isn't porting its console exclusives to PlayStation. It's just hard hopium from fanboys. Okay? Yeah, he's got some snark. He's getting a little shot in. Right? He's getting a little shot in. But he's also basing that off of what he was told. He was told it wasn't happening. Hey, Mag, with a 5 spot, it's $5 Canadian, so I think I can buy a stick of gum with that. Says the Mag guy is a total fraud, a handsome fraud at that. He is. I'll be honest with you guys. Don't tell him this. Don't tell him this. But I had him on the show purely for eye candy purposes. Like, I was, you know what I mean? I was like, he's just a good-looking dum-dum. We got to have him on the show. No, but we do need to have Mag back on the show. Mag's in the chat. Good to see you, brother. We have to have him back on the show. That was fun. Having a co-host for the day. We will do that again. And a gifted member comes in from Joker Quinn. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. So, do you see what I'm saying? Like, if he would have been told, or let's just say when it happened, when they basically said, yes, there are no more red lines or what have you. If that would have been covered in a way to like try to contort it to mislead you, then you could say, oh, this guy's being dishonest. He's trying to mislead me. Right? I'm trying to help you to see the difference. There's a difference between somebody having a little bit of bluster and tweeting and being like, this isn't happening. He's got contacts, and they're like, I don't know they're not doing this. What do you mean? They're not putting first-party games on the other platforms. And then they were. So, like, that's the point, is like, I'm attempting to have way more charity for folks than, a lot of the people that don't like me have for me. Like, there's a difference between somebody goofing around and console warring. There are guys that do this and they have fun doing it. We had King David on the channel. He loves it. It's something that he enjoys. It's a hobby for him, right? He gets out there and he console wars and he thinks it's fun, right? I don't think there's any malice in it. We've talked about how Doc Dark does the same thing. Doc Dark is just being fun. He's just having fun and being funny. It's not meant to be serious. You're not supposed to take what he says like he's out here like really being super duper serious. So I think there's people who playfully console war. I think there's people who get bad information. I do think there are people who intentionally distort things and contort things. And I think that's where I'm like, yeah, I draw the line on. There were times where things were covered in the last couple of years where I felt like people were contorting things, distorting things, and misleading folks. And I think that is a completely different conversation. It's not one that I'm having anymore, though. That's something that you have to determine. I'm not going to war. I'm not playing police. I'm not going out here and being like, well, this tweet and this video and this statement, they're obfuscating, they're astroturfing. No, I'm not interested in doing that anymore. It's tiring. It's tiring. The record will always be there for those that can remember. And for those who leave, if people leave their videos and stuff up, the record is there. But it's up to the public to decide. It's up to you to decide. It's not up to me to go out here and like name and shame and do this whole like play police thing. You have to just develop the ability to discern between somebody who may have gotten bad info and somebody who's giving you bad info, like intentionally or willfully. I'm interested in how Jason words things today. Unfortunately, you have to read the tea leaves with Xbox. Yeah. There are ponies that only you can prevent forest fires. That's right. There are ponies that are out here just having fun. And that's why I got mad at some of them when they had to go at Ginger Prime. I was like, I felt like that was out of bounds. I felt like having a go at Ginger was just completely uncalled for. It was uninformed. Tom Warren confirmed that today's event is a recap from the GDC. So, why would... I don't understand. The GDC thing's public. Why would they do that? Why? I don't understand. Why would they... That's all it's going to be? Having two versions is not a cost for them. Having to pay to have it on Steam is. And systems that are Steam... The systems that are on Steam are only done by Steam. What are you guys debating about? I saw the word straw man and my eyes perked up here. When third-party devs have games on the Microsoft Store, they also have to pay Microsoft a cut. So you're giving a cut to someone regardless. Why spend the dev time on another version? No, I don't think he's strawmanning Polokin. The versions of the games in the Xbox Store have commonly been different than the version in Steam. That's actually a thing. That's something that people have been critical about. Xbox guys have been critical about that. I don't think it's that way every single time, but it is a different version. There have been literal like feature differences between games in Steam and the Xbox Store on PC. And yes, both stores take a cut. This thing today is directed to devs and not consumers. Guessing it will be a bunch of junk and not many of us understand. I'm going to tell you what I think today is. I think it's an Asha Sharma initiative. I think she said, hey, I know that's primarily meant for the developers, but we are going to start a new thing here. We're going to make it public. We're going to premiere it on the Xbox channel. We're going to leverage this as marketing. I think she sees this as another step in them sort of winning back the public. Does that make sense? I that's what I think this is. I think traditionally speaking, these types of things... King Thrash made that observation, right? He was like, they did this thing at the GDC, and it was a bunch of content creators that showed up. That's not a typical thing. Typically, GDC presentations are attended by developers. That's literally what it's there for. Should I just start listing fallacies? I'm sure that would be a good time for everyone. It's a quick way to get my attention, for sure. If you throw a fallacy in chat, you're like, well, that's poisoning the well. So yeah, I think that's what this is. I think that's what this is. I think historically speaking, this type of thing they wouldn't have put on the YouTube channel. They're gonna premiere this on the YouTube channel. I think she's quite literally on a tear of, we need the public to think differently about this brand. We have to think, we need the public to view Xbox differently. That's what I think they're doing. A lot of our media people who get into this stuff now are pretty much influencers. Well, yes. The GDC is attended by media, but it's primarily meant for developers to attend. That's why the one Unreal demo, everyone was like really, really upset about it. I'm like, they developed this demo and presentation for developers. Unreal is trying to get developers to use their engine. Games don't allow for certain stuff on different stores, but the game itself is basically on different packaging, with different systems depending on the store or the launcher. Yo, what's good, William? I'm glad that you and King Thrash are out here, because sometimes I feel like I'm arguing with fools by myself until I see you and Thrash making the right points. We couldn't be more different, Thrash and I. Look. Like and subscribe. You know the deal. I tried to tell you. He's a nut. He is an absolute nut. I watched his latest video. He's like talking to himself. I'm like, all right, Thrash. All right, dude. Getting a little wild here. I have yet to hear a convincing argument to use the Windows Store. Well, that's gonna be the rub, isn't it? That's going to be the rub. People are going to be like, they're going to buy the Helix, and then the reports are going to be like, yeah, nobody's usually really using the Windows Store for games. They're all going to be using Steam. Everybody's going to use Steam. I think the brand itself's in the toilet. I don't see any saving it. The stench is strong. I don't know. He does a crazy bit, but the point behind the bit is usually right. Yeah, he's got the business acumen to usually see the forest for the trees. He made predictions about Xbox long before I was even in this game. I was covering Destiny back then. So he made all these predictions. I come late to the game, and people kept telling me, they're like, you're saying this, but King Thrash said it first. And I was like, I wasn't around back then. I'm not stealing or copying. I don't have time to, like, you know, somebody was like, you must watch their roundtable. And I was like, I don't have time. Like, I'll watch his videos in the morning and turn them on as fast as I can, like a 1.5 or like sometimes a 2. Because I try to listen to him as well as other people. I listen to people all across the aisle and the spectrum on these topics. So I try to listen to everybody's voice on the subject. But yeah, plenty of these guys were in this game longer than I was. That's why a lot of them didn't understand. That's why a lot of people called me a grifter. They thought I was just capitalizing and jumping on the console war. And I was like, no, I've been doing this longer than many people realize. It was just single game coverage versus multi-topic variety coverage. Gene Park interviewed Pearl Abyss on Crimson Desert. Everything patch-wise, content-wise, has been iterated in real time based on feedback. If you bake in a roadmap, you're presuming. We are not baking in presumptions around what players want. I think they can say that now. I don't think the first 3 patches were based off of feedback. Well, no, let me rephrase. It was based off feedback that they were already aware of. Right? So I think they can say that and be accurate, but those first 3 patches, they already knew all that stuff needed to be addressed because people had already played the game behind closed doors and told them. They were well aware of this stuff. I mean, months before the game came out, Maximilian was like, yeah, one of the things they need to work on is controls. It was something that they knew was a problem. It wasn't a surprise to them that people installed the game day one and were like, these controls are freaking terrible. Helix is not able to have that value proposition and will lose me for that. If I'm dropping $1,000 on a system for the grandkids, they're getting a PlayStation. Windows on Helix will be a memory hog, just as it is now. I mean, they're stripping it down. RC Young says, I don't hate Xbox. I have a Series X and a PS5, but I'm mostly likely only getting a PS6 next gen. Not interested in the new direction for Xbox. I'll still play on my Series X, but that's it for me. William says, hang on. Zubair says, I'm putting my money down now before more info comes out. No Steam on Helix and push for Windows Store exclusives and Windows Game Pass. It'll be a hot mess and it won't work and it'll waste billions. William says, I've been arguing with people about this. Me explaining that there's no such thing as a PC console hybrid because PC is open and console is closed. Xbox Helix is a mini PC with an Xbox overlay. It's an interesting discussion, William, because when they insist that it's not a PC, I'm like, why would you insist that it's not a PC? That's literally one of the main selling points of the device. That's one of the selling points of the device, is that it's a PC. If it's just a console, then why all the hullabaloo about it being able to do things a PC can do? Asha said Copilot's being removed from Xbox, but Helix is Windows based. So it will have Copilot then? No, I think they're completely removing Copilot from multiple systems. Now, there's still Copilot Group on mobile that they're working on, because I don't think Satya, that is. I don't think Satya is abandoning his vision for AI, but I think Copilot's been a bit of a disaster. It's a bit of a PR disaster. So I think they're going to be removing it from Xbox. It's likely going to get removed, or at the very least renamed on PC. I think they're going to try to rework it. It hasn't gone well. It's been an abysmal failure. Now on mobile, their thing that he talked about called Copilot Group. Maybe that's seeing better success for some reason on mobile, but they were having very, very bad results on PC, and it was largely not wanted in the Xbox space. Haley says the Xbox app on Windows is so effing crap, it's hard to articulate how bad it is. I will try. It's almost like it was made by someone who hates gamers, games, working filters, game images, and all the UIs. Anything that can't function as a PC. If they make anything that can't function as a PC, the project will fail. The Helix price will be problematic. The price will be problematic if it's a closed system. The goal with AI in terms of Xbox Helix is that they want to make a metaverse like Oasis, but you can create your own world and stories inside it with Xbox IP characters. Yeah, I mean, she said, that's what she envisions and that's what she means when she says open, like an open platform. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't think anybody else means that when they say open platform. Nobody refers to PC as an open platform and means that. That's not what they mean. So her trying to rephrase what an open platform is kind of weird. Zubair says they mean PC hybrid as in it can play games made for PC, not that it can do things an actual PC can do like an open platform. Two, they like redefining words. Lucas, Lono, well, yeah, you can call me Lucas, I don't care. Lono, Microsoft Game Dev posted 6 days ago on X explaining everything happening on today's show. Microsoft Game Dev? What's the at? Microsoft Game Dev. Okay, here it is. MS Game Dev. Yeah, we've already seen this. It's a closer look at Project Helix with Jason Ronald and Chris Charla and what it means for devs. GDC speakers will also dive into Xbox developer tools, DirectX State of the Union, Xbox Marketplace updates, and GDC highlights. Yeah, I read this already. Yeah. That's why I don't think it's just going to be a retread or a resub. I think they're going to talk about new things. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems that way to me. Hang on, what was stopped? New NFL 2K game is no longer in development. Oh, okay. I'll schedule the new stream here in a minute as well. We'll redirect to it. William says it's automatically an open platform if it can use other stores. Also, I don't see how devs will make a dedicated Xbox Helix version of a game if they can just make a PC version. William, we were talking about that a little bit earlier before you got here. I basically said they're saying things that I don't really understand. Why would you need a Helix dev kit if at the same GDC they also said they're going to basically encourage people to make the game one time for PC? You see what I'm saying? Like I don't get it. I'm like, why? What kind of a dev kit would you need? Now, obviously, you could ship a Helix to people so they could have the chipset and, like, you know, the rig to test the games on to make sure if there are any nagging problems or anything, they could obviously smooth those over. I think they can optimize for the APU and the Helix, which is different from discrete CPU, GPU. You'll have to elaborate, Zubair. You're speaking Russian to me. I don't understand what you just said. I mean, are you saying what I said just more eloquently? Like, they're just going to optimize for the Helix. They don't need to make a game for the Helix. That's like not really that's not a thing. It's the Helix will run any game for PC, but it can be optimized for the Helix hardware. Sort of like how the Steam Deck can run anything, but then there's like Steam Deck certified games that are going to run better. Is that kind of what you mean? Like they can go in and make adjustments to make sure that there's like optimizations particular to Helix. I wish 2K would make an NFL game to light a fire under EA and Madden. I think it's going to be a mess. It's going to be hackable AF. Who cares if it's hackable? What difference does that make? I think all the devs will not waste time making a dedicated Xbox version, but they are sending out dev kits to optimize the specs like a Steam Deck certified. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't see Helix having a lot of prominence within developers' framework and decision making because they're not going to have very many of them in circulation. At best, if they hit like 10 million in circulation, who in the world's going to make sure their game is optimized on the Helix? Like, I'm not saying they won't do it. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be a front burner issue for a lot of developers because it's going to be such a small amount. There's going to be so few of them in circulation. You're primarily going to want to make sure your game runs well on PlayStation 5 or runs well on the Switch 2 or runs well on mid-level PCs, since that makes up the bulk of the gaming audience globally. Mid-level PCs and down, PlayStation 5s and Nintendo Switch 2s. I mean, that's an ocean of consumers compared to the... I mean, I cannot see the Helix getting more than about 10 million in circulation. I just don't... They got... With the Series X and S, they're at like, what, like 30 million? They're gonna be a fraction of that with the Helix. I don't think the Helix's goal is to have mass market saturation. I don't think that's the point. I would have respected Microsoft so much more if they would have just come out and said, we're all PC gaming now. Steam Deck's a good analogy. It'll run any PC game, but some devs have put in the effort to make sure it'll work well on specific hardware. And there are some devs that do that at launch. There are some devs that do that later. And there are some devs that just don't do that at all. I think there will likely be more devs that do it at launch because I don't think it's going to be that difficult if you're shipping a game to PC to make sure that it's optimized and has settings for the Helix. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. If you're already building for PC, I don't think it's going to be that difficult for people to do. I think it's more difficult to do on the Steam Deck because it's got that limited power threshold that you have to wrangle with. Dr. Killshot with 22 months. Thank you so much for using your Prime. 22 months is a lot of months. How do you think the bank CEO's thoughts on raising the game prices will impact GTA 6 pricing? A lot of YouTubers have take a view that price increase is a foregone conclusion. I have initially said that I thought they would keep it at $70, but then that they would charge $100 for a digital deluxe edition because the release date for GTA 6 is a Thursday. So they're going to do like the 48 hours of early access and then everybody can play on Tuesday, like they just did that with Saros. I think they're going to do the same thing. However, as we were talking about it, it dawned on me, and I said this, and then Wheezy echoed it as well in Twitch chat, that if the base level price is 80, you're more likely to get people to upgrade to the 100. If they see the base level price at 70 and the Digital Deluxe at 100, they're less likely to buy the Digital Deluxe at 100 because the gap is too large. So if, this is a conditional prediction, if they decide a Digital Deluxe edition at $100 is the right call for 48 hours of early access and like a car and a jacket and a skin and a gun or something, then the base level price will probably be 80. I don't think they're going to charge a base price of 100 for GTA 6, but I would not be surprised if they do that. Yes. Now, when I talk about this, I'm not defending that. I'm just making a prediction about what I think they will do because of the power that they have in the market. I'm not defending them raising the price to 80 or 100. I'm merely arguing the calculus of they're going to try to maximize how much money they can make all of this. Like, imagine, okay, think of it like this. If they charge 80 and they sell 1 million copies, let's just say in the first 5 minutes, they sell 1 million copies at that 80. Well, that's an extra $10 million. Do you see? Like 1 million people buy it. It's $10 more. That's $10 million right there. So every million copies of the game you sell at 80, you're making an extra 10 million. It's really hard for executives and shareholders to say no to that. It's easy money when your product is that much in demand. People get very upset and very angry about this. They talk like Karens. They're very entitled. But that's how these companies operate. They're going to maximize profit. They're going to look at this situation and say, why on earth did you leave all that money on the table? If they do their own internal market research and they determine that they can weather the storm, 80 base, 100 Digital Deluxe, if they do the research and they calculate they're going to make tens, if not hundreds of millions of more dollars, they're going to do it. They're going to. And it's a volitional choice the consumer is taking. Nobody is forcing you to buy the game at that price. You could wait. You could wait for a sale. You could skip the game entirely. You could boycott. But when you have a product that is that much in demand, like look at the prices, historically speaking, like look at the prices and how you purchase like an iPhone now, right? They got to a place where the demand for the product was so high, they could charge quite a bit more money and make more money. Like that's what they're going to do. It's what companies do. That's what they do. They're not charities. They're not here to be nice to you. They're here to get your money. They're here to get as much money as they possibly can. It's not unique to any company. There's not a company out right now that is like, oh yeah, we don't do that. That's not something we do. We don't try to maximize profit around here. That's not a thing. Every single company worth its salt is literally going to do that. They are going to make as much as they possibly can. Hang on. And I mean, you can seethe about it, you can maul about it, you can call me every name in the book for speaking this frank about it. This is just the nature of it. That they're going to. When you're that large and your game is that in demand and everybody wants it that badly, you are then empowered to charge quite a bit more. I mean, when I ran a graphic design business, I hit certain thresholds of clients where I was able to raise my prices because it was like, well, I can only work so many hours in a week. I'm going to have to raise my prices here. You know what I mean? And when I did that, I lost some customers and gained others because there were others that looked at it and thought, well, this guy really values his work and his time. And so then I'm working the same amount of hours in the week, but then I'm more profitable. And now I'm not so stretched about like, well, I have to have a client for every hour of the week, or I'm not gonna make enough money to provide for my family. So back then, I was increasing my per hour rate on the graphic design that I provided, because it was like, well, I've only got so many hours in a week to work. I have to make those hours as profitable as I possibly can. Now there's limits, obviously. There's limits. Because if I would have been like, yeah, it's $1,000 an hour. Well, that's absurd. People wouldn't have paid me that. They would have been like, that's ridiculous. We're not paying that. And then I would have gotten far less consumers. Silk Song went against that. Well, when you're smaller and you're leaner, you have more freedom within your price. But there's extremes here. You can't do a race to the bottom. You can't be like, well, if we only charge $1 for our game, we'll sell way more copies. We'll be super, super competitive. If we only charge $1, we'll sell way more copies at $1. Well, when you do that, if you do that, you are going to make such a small amount of money that then that as a business plan becomes self-destructive. So there's bright lines in either direction, or there's limitations in either direction. You can't be like, oh, our game is $150. We only need to sell, 1 million copies and we'll be fine. Right? You can completely kill your momentum. John Always, I missed it. 56 months in a VIP. How are devs going to handle the cross-gen period? I honestly don't know. We're one away from the milestone of 175. I honestly don't know, John. Because the presence of the Helix and the realities we know devs have faced this gen could mean a pretty expeditious lack of games hitting Series S and X. It could be. We could be looking at a ramp up of that happening more. We're in for a world of hurt because it's going to be the signal to other AAA developers that will accept 80, even though this might be a one-time purchase. That didn't happen with Mario Kart at 80. No, I think you're incorrect. Well, I guess you can't be incorrect. You're making a prediction. I don't think your prediction comes to fruition. I don't think other developers will be like, yep, now it's our turn. And poor boy gifts a member. He's not so poor. He's paying it forward to somebody else, and it goes to William, and there it is. The 175. Thank you so much. And a member plus from Q Patrick becomes the agent of chaos. And that gets us to 176. Thank you so much, Patrick. Xbox is a controller company. And a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master and gets us to 181. It'd be a 20 bomb to 200. And we're a little behind pace for the week. If you guys want that Saturday stream with Madam, it was a really, really good time last week. If you guys missed last week's stream, it was probably one of the funniest we've done. I laughed more during that stream than probably any other stream that we've ever done. So you can always go back and watch that, and we appreciate the support. And Manny Plays hits 32 months in Member Plus. Check your primes, check your resubs. That helps us hit that goal every week. Yeah, I don't think other developers are going to be like, well, GTA 6 raised its price, so can we. Did you see how it went for the Outer Worlds 2? They had to walk that back. Jesse with a gifted member gets us to 183. Thank you so much, Jesse. Like, you're not going to see other games and other companies be like, well, we can do what GTA 6 just did. Mario Kart got everybody a little bit excited, like, oh, we can charge 80 now. It didn't go very well. It didn't go very well, did it? They tried, and they had to walk it back. I watched the stream on my way home from the bar. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you were either sober or being safely transported by somebody else. Yo, what's good, Jason? NorCal Garbage Man here. Been on vacation this last week. Missed the shows. Hope all is well. He says, come on, chat. Let's get the goal up. Demanding blanket pricing across the board for different products is odd. Yeah, I mean, I actually like that Nintendo is charging less money for digital. I mean, that's kind of how it should be. If I buy a digital PlayStation game, I don't think it should be $70. I think it should be $60. I think that's fair. If I'm going to the store and buying a jewel case and a physical disc, and that had to be shipped and printed and manufactured, sure, you can charge me more for that. I think that's fine. It also has higher value. It retains a value that I can then trade in. So I spend $70 for it, but I can turn around and trade it in, a month or two later and get, $20 or $30 back. So that has better value for me. I'm getting to sort of carry a balance at some level. When I buy a digital game, I think it should be cheaper. I'm not going to pound the podium and get entitled about it, but I do think other platforms should follow suit. I think it should be cheaper to buy digital. If GTA 6 is actually that good and costs $100, it'll only make me want to buy other games less, unless they match that exact quality or somehow better. How does this not make the market? How will this not make the market worse? How will it not make the market worse? What are you asking will make the market worse? I don't think GTA 6 is going to be $100. I think they're going to have a digital deluxe version that will be $100, that you'll get a bunch of extra stuff, and then you will not only will you get a bunch of extra stuff, but you'll get 48 hours of early access. That's what I think they're going to do. I'm surprised that charging a premium for physical isn't a more normalized thing by now. That's why developers don't like physical, says AOZ. The resale market hurts developers that don't make money off the resale. Oh, right. Like the percentage of consumers that buy a game used instead of buying it new, that money doesn't go to them. That just goes to, GameStop or what have you. Yeah, I mean, I could see developers not liking that and being like, yeah, we don't get anything from that. That's a tough shake to deal with, to be like, if economically people are more driven, if economically people are more driven to wait because they feel like games have gotten too expensive, then they might be just buying used, which then that hurts the developer. Yeah, Tom Warren tweeted an hour ago. He said, I already mentioned that the other week, but today's developer-focused event is just about recapping the Xbox GDC talk, and I'm not expecting any news. And D-Bat says, I think you may be in for a surprise. I don't think Tom Warren's going to be surprised by anything Xbox does. I think he literally has a red phone in his office. I mean, he knows everything going on, when it happens, before it happens. He was quick to throw Sarah Bond under the bus, writing basically a gossip hit piece on her. I think he's well in the know. I think he's probably correct about what today ends up shaking out to be. If games are too expensive, just make more money. Oh my gosh. Chat. Did you guys ever consider that? How did we never think of this before? Just make more money. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm going to remember this moment for the rest of my life. I mean, this is truly a revolutionary moment. I mean, how epiphanous. Just make more money, guys. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. You're working right now. You just make more money. That's all you got to do. Wait. Talk slower. Let me write that down. Holy smokes, he's correct. He cracked the case. He figured it out, guys. Just make more money. I mean, listen, sometimes you're choosing between rent, gas, and groceries. That you're playing the game the wrong way. You just got to make more money. That's all you got to do. He's cooking. He's cooking, dude. He's cooking it up. Just there it is, boys. Just make more money. Where am I going to get a job? We're going to shoot me over to Jobville where jobs grow on jobbies? Oh, my golly. Yo, Big Dino says, have some more money. Well, that's 56 months. That's a lot of months, and I appreciate that direct support. Chat, now hear me out. You guys can help me make more money right now. How much of a pyramid scheme would that be? If you guys give me more money, then we all make more money. How? I don't know. You just got to calculate it the right way. In any case, let's get that membership number higher. If I make more money, we all make more money. That doesn't seem to be how it works, Lono. I don't know. There was a guy in chat who just told me to make more money, and I'm taking his advice. And a member plus from Keno Mansky. Here's more money. We don't know, but we don't know, and we're 15 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much. Creature says, I'll say it, if you're putting food before your games, your priorities are effed up anyway. Yeah, dude, what are you eating for, man? F it, we ball. We're playing. We're not eating. We're playing. This is the wrong effing room to drop that kind of brilliance. We are not ready for it. I'm manifesting money right now. That's right. As the local Duke of PC Master Race, the Good Vibes guy isn't with us. What Good Vibes guy? Who are you talking about? It reminds me of Randy Pitchford. If you're a real fan, you'll find ways to make it happen. Yeah. Lono, timeshares, run it up. You can eat when you're dead. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good slogan. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good life motto. I'll eat when I'm dead. No, you won't. No, wait, hang on. If you don't eat, you'll be dead. In case you missed it, one developer for Lego Batman Legacy: The Dark Knight stated that the game's story will be about 15 hours long. Can they speak to why the performance is so bad, and why are they using frame gen for a frickin' Lego game? We need MASH with the 10 bomb. MASH has been gone for about a year. I don't know if he's ever coming back, brother. People come and go. That's the nature of the business. I've been doing this a long time. That's just kind of how it goes, man. It's just the way of the road. I'm having a hard time following, says Hidden Siriu. What point are you trying to make? A game having a PC and an Xbox version doesn't make them both Xbox versions of the game. What's he saying? Let me try and find his name to click on so I can see his chat history. Did he get gifted a member? It's easy to find him. Yeah, there he is. Let's see what he's saying here. You were making fun of them that consider Xbox PC similar, if not the same. My younger brother kids play on Xbox Series S at home and on PC at their mom's home. So for them it is. Is he saying from a perception angle that they're the same? I don't think he's saying from a developmental perspective they're the same games. I think he was saying from the consumer's perspective it's the exact same game. You know? Speaking of gone, where's Eugene? He's not here anymore. Nothing happened. He and I didn't have like a row or a fight. He just, he'll probably be back one day, There were a pretty good chunk of homies that really were gung-ho about Marathon. And, I was right. And that's how that story went. I don't know what else to say. I see him now. Steam Machine knows DeWay and Xbox is learning DeWay, but Xbox is trying not to be Sega at the moment. He's really committed to the bit, the DeWay bit, Zoom. He's really committed. Eugene series in the Marathon room. Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't come to streams or said anything in the Discord for a while. He and I did not have any kind of a fallout, boys. It was not from that, you know. It's not just him. He was just the most prominent chatter that you guys probably miss, because he and I would go back and forth fairly regularly. But you know, there are a chunk of homies that were all about Marathon, and you know, I feel like I was very fair in my coverage. I feel like I could have been really freaking petty, given everything that Bungie did and what that community did to me. How nobody's ever made it right to this day. You know, people just won't admit. And, you know, the damage they inflicted on my life is incalculable. And I could have been very petty. I could have made the coverage extremely nasty and gloaty. And I feel like I was pretty fair. I feel like I was about as diplomatic as a human being could be, given my history. Given my history with Bungie, I feel like I was very fair. It didn't dominate the channel, you know, like any game. We covered it. We spent a good bit of time recircling, and now I wait about 2 weeks before putting it in the thumbnail or the topic. And at this point, I don't think it's worth talking about unless they say something of significance. If not, we're just all kind of waiting for June. So, if people have a problem with the way I covered it, I got to be honest with you, I don't care. I feel like I handled it with integrity and with honesty and accuracy. And, you know, I just also happen to be almost 100% accurate and right about the game and how it played out. So, you were very fair about Marathon. You gave it more than a fair shake than I would have. Yeah. You go back and watch my coverage from last year. I mean, I hit a lot of bullseyes, and sorry that's the case. PlayStation Twitter just tweeted about Lego Batman. Like a promotional tweet, I'm assuming. Yeah, I am not responsible for other people's feelings. Like, that's just something that, you know, it's something that my wife and I learned through through a lot of therapy, and just anytime you're dealing with like family issues, relational issues, in-law issues, whatever, you're not responsible for how other people feel. You're not. Now, if you intentionally try to make them feel bad, you are. But if you're honest and you're fair and you're kind, and they decide, you know, to be hurt, or if people decide to perpetually be a victim and perpetually be hurt, like, you know, I'm not talking about Marathon now, I'm just talking about life in general, you know, you're not responsible for that. They're responsible for their own feelings. So is this, or there not information about Helix Generation today? Yes, in 52 minutes we'll be co-streaming the event. In 30 minutes or so we'll do a new stream. Yeah. Why do we need frame gen or DLSS or whatever to achieve 30 FPS as a Lego game? The game looks great, so I'm really hoping that the performance isn't a major issue. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did to make the game run the way that it runs or encounter the problems that it's encountering. I do not understand. It is a very, very bizarre situation. Now, it could be one of those things where they were like, well, we're building a Lego game, but we want this Lego game to be the best looking Lego game ever. You know, I saw a game trailer for Lego Batman and performance was terrible. I absolutely love Black Myth. You went hard on it, rightfully so. I wasn't not going to come back. It's just gaming at the end of the day. Well, what frustrated me about Black Myth is it was a game that I was looking forward to and cheering for. That's happened a lot lately. You know, I was looking forward to and cheering for Crimson Desert, and then in my opinion, it was a very significant and dishonest fumbled launch, and I felt very similarly about Black Myth. I felt like it was a fumbled launch, you know. it's if you're looking forward to something and then you're critical of it when it comes out, there's a unique frustration there, because then people are like, oh, you're just being a hater, and it's like, I was looking forward to this game. Jiminy Christmas. Like, are you in the midst of still playing Power World? We drifted from Power World after about 40 hours or so, and we played all the way through Sworn, which was like a Hades clone. We put about 50 hours into Sworn, and now we've been playing a game called Dead Zone Rogue. So after we beat Sworn, we moved on to Dead Zone Rogue. Dead Zone Rogue, we have a little over 20 hours in. So we also beat Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 this year. Madam and I have played a lot of games this year together. We're kind of putting the time in, honestly. A lot of the games I finished this year, I would say a third of them have been games with her. Power World. Why are you laughing at Power World, Keeg? Power World's awesome. Power World is no laughing matter, sir. It's great. We played Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 together. We played Sworn together, Power World, and now Dead Zone Rogue. I got a couple other games on the wish list for her and I to check out together. We're looking forward to Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Hopefully it doesn't perform poorly. Have you completed Kirby yet? I don't even own Kirby. I really enjoy Crimson Desert, but I waited until last week to buy it. Yeah, I mean now's a much better time to buy it. It's in much better shape. That's insanely low PC specs. Yeah, but look at no. Don't look at the minimum though, Paul. Look at the recommended. The recommended is so bizarre for a Lego game. They're clocking it at like medium 1440-60 with frame gen. It's a Lego game. Why do I need frame gen for medium 1440-60? Like, what? You don't own Kirby and you were talking all that trash about it? How dare you? That's right. I saw a picture on Twitter that at the end of Kirby comes out as gay and he throws a rainbow into the sky and it kills all the bad guys with love. And I was like, that's just too woke for me. So I hate Kirby now. I hate Kirby. I think I found that's it. That's the new content I should make. There we go. That's it, boys. You know what I mean? We should just start making satirical reviews and we should call it such and such fake ending and just start making up endings for games. Be like, dude, God of War Ragnarok was pretty dope until at the end, all of a sudden, Kratos pulled out a purse and said, I'm not Kratos anymore, I'm Charla. Deal with it, girls. And he flicked his bald head and walked out of the frame. And I was like, what kind of woke garbage is this? You know what I mean? What are they doing to all of our heroes? I think there's money to be made there, boys. I think there's money to be made. Is Kirby a girl? Kirby is a Kirby, you frickin' weirdo. What do you mean is Kirby a girl? It's right there in the name. Kirby is a Kirby. That's such a gross question to ask. To presume that Kirby's not just a Kirby. Like, you're gross, sir. You can take your hate and leave. You can take your hate and you can leave, Davis. Kirby's just out here trying to live life, Yeah, he just wants to suck on everything or suck everything in. I mean, that's not even pause worthy. That's just what he does. You know what I mean? I mean, some of you guys know what that's like. Kirby has giant feet, just saying. That's right. Kirby does have big feet. All right, it's 11:13. It's going to be a premiere video. They haven't They haven't scheduled it or put it on the channel yet. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. If Kirby is gay, throwing rainbows isn't what I want him to do. I mean, isn't there a famous stand-up bit? That's what friends are for? I mean, you gonna say no to Kirby? I don't think you would. I don't think you have that kind of power. No. No. Okay. Can we watch the trailer? The one that they just talked about? You know what they say about big feet, big socks? I mean, it's just a story launch trailer. It does look good, though. Like, here at the end, there's like a boss fight with, I think, with Mr. Freeze. Or at least in Mr. Freeze's lair. Yeah, it's Mr. Freeze. Yeah, I don't know. They might have just gotten too ambitious with this. If it's having performance issues, I mean, it looks freaking nuts. It looks absolutely nuts. I don't know. I think it looks great, but they need to figure out these performance issues that we're hearing about, because that's who wants to be playing a freaking Lego Batman game and dealing with performance issues? You know? This guy in chat said zero hype. This is so boring. Are you telling me that the Batman Lego game you have zero hype for and it looks boring? Listen, man. I don't know how you can say such a thing. Does it default to path tracing? I don't know. They might have just gotten too ambitious. Yo, Tim Tation with 4 months of memberships over there on Purple. Thank you so much. It's a 180. What is that? 186. Maybe they went for the more cinematic experience. I'm just wondering if, like, size of the city, like, did they do something dumb? Like, every single brick in the city is there and rendered and breakable, and the enemies are everywhere and all the time, and, like, is it constantly doing stuff? Right? Like, is it constantly having to process all that stuff? I just don't know. Did they do something stupid with the lighting? Usually it's lighting. Usually it's lighting that causes the issue with these games. It caused that issue with Gotham Knights as well. Yeah. What is that frame gen you were talking about earlier? So frame gen creates a fake frame in between frames if there's some kind of a dip, right? It's an interpolated frame. So what they did with Black Myth Wukong that was so egregious is they used frame gen to double the frames. That's not what the technology is for. It's a 30 frame per second game, and they use frame gen so that every other frame is interpolated. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I know the word, I always want to say interpolate, but like I think it's interpolated. I don't know how to say it. In any case, every other frame isn't really a frame. That's what frame gen's for. So Black Myth Wukong, the reason it felt so terrible on console when you ran performance mode is it created input latency and dropped inputs. Because you're responding to things. You're responding to fake frames. So Jason Ronald has said the following. I don't know why they're doing this event. We're going to watch it either way. For those who have asked, so he said this 15 minutes ago. This is a recap of our announcements from GDC for those who aren't able to make it. We'll have more to share about Project Helix later this year. Well, we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it. I mean, that's the plan for today. We'll see. I mean, why not? It's what we got planned. They just decided to push out a recap. Do you think Sony should be able to require devs to allow you to be able to turn off frame gen? I don't think it's that simple. Let's just all keep hanging out and make it fun, all right? I didn't know that's what they were doing. The way they described it, it sounded like it was going to be like a new thing. You know what I mean? Pelokin says, if it even holds up the second frame so that the system can generate a frame in between, and that makes the frame feel terrible and unresponsive. Yeah, when it did it in Black Myth Wukong, it was really hard to explain. It just felt very bizarre. It felt weird. It felt like your inputs were just constantly not registering, and it didn't really show up until that one fight where there was water all over the ground. More than likely what was happening in that fight is I was being required to have like tighter response time and tighter reaction, and it was just causing issues. And it was probably dipping below 30 because of the water, which means frame gen was really struggling. Thank you for having a predictable stream schedule. I listen to you every day at work. Well, I appreciate that. If you listen every day and this channel and these live streams help you through your work day, I appreciate that. You can help me by making sure you always hit the like button. And anybody that is a member, you guys are helping out with what we do. And you can also get into the Discord. So thank you everybody who's been doing that and jumping in as members or gifting members. FrameGen is only useful for taking 120 to 240. I don't know if it's ever going to feel right to have it doubling frames. I don't know if it's ever going to feel right to have it doubling frames. It's probably always going to feel awkward. I mean, once you're above 120, it's probably less noticeable. I would still feel like it's going to create oddities within response time and how the game feels if you're literally using it to double frames. Like, I don't think that's what it's for. 60 to 120 frame gen is fine in my experience, says Zubair. You don't feel it adds any oddities, Zub? I was just expecting it to still create some strangeness in how the game feels with respect to response time. Do you think James Bond and Lego Batman will be failures? No, I don't think so. I mean, I certainly hope that they're successful. They look like they're going to be fun games. This is such a ridiculous year. We're 5 months into the year, and I've already played some amazing games. Resident Evil 9, Pragmata, and Soros were all just fantastic. And then there were smaller titles that were really enjoyable as well, like Mio Memories in Orbit. That was a fun little Metroidvania. Grind Survivors is a really fun survivor game with like loot-based. It's like a twin-stick shooter survivor, but it's a survivor, so you don't have to twin-stick shoot. It'll auto-shoot for you. That was really enjoyable. Cairn, the mountain climbing game, was really enjoyable. That was a smaller game. Dead Zone Rogue came to consoles. BlazBlue Entropy Effect came to consoles. Other smaller games that were just really enjoyable. We're 5 months in, man. We're swimming in games. I don't think the James Bond game or the Batman game look like they're going to fail. I hope the Batman game can figure out whatever is going on with performance. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about Super Meat Boy 3D. Super Meat Boy 3D. We were going to make Madam play that 1 week for stretch. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Mouse PI. Mouse PI. Because that's in my backlog. I got to go back to that one. I got about halfway through it. Soros flopped. Sure. Whatever makes you feel better about, your life, it flopped. You're right. Let's move on. Oh, you retracted it. Okay. Oh. Hoping Directive 8020 is good. That's next week. That'll be a stretch goal to have Madam and I play that next week. We love playing those games. What's good, Kronos? Thank you for the raid. He's going to raid on both Twitch and YouTube. We appreciate you, Chrono. Oh, he typed it again. Soros flopped. Yep. Mm-hmm. It was such a big flop, dude. It was a massive flop. Yeah. Okay. Preview PCs for the London event. Lego Batman Legacy was not on a 5090 graphics card or frame gen enabled. He stated the game ran smoothly. So Rugged Eagle is saying the game ran smoothly and they were not playing on 5090 cards and FrameGen was not enabled. Yeah, Scalper's got that Steam controller mad quick, dude. Real quick. Real quick. Crimson Desert will be for sure Game of the Year contender. No, it won't. I don't think it's going to get enough votes. There's too many big games that are going to shove it right off the podium. RE9's guaranteed nom. Pragmata's practically guaranteed a nom. Saros is probably getting a nom. Control Resonant is still coming. GTA 6 is still coming. Wolverine is coming. Phantom Blade Zero is coming. The Bond game looks very promising. The Lego Batman game, no. I don't think that game is going to get a nomination for Game of the Year. Not enough people that played it at launch are gonna go back and revisit it and think as fondly about it as the rest of you do. Even on Steam, its score is more respectable, but it still has like an 84% global, which is a much more respectable score. But like, I just don't think so. Yeah, Onimusha is still coming as well. Capcom's having just a generational run this year. Yeah, there's the Castlevania game still coming. There's so many games coming that I think are just going to land. Yeah, Forza 6 is coming. Gears is coming. I think Fable's going to get delayed. I don't think Fable's making it this year. It'll be the second year in a row that I predicted a Fable delay. Everybody will tell me that I'm absolutely incorrect, and then it's probably going to happen again. I said last year Fable was getting delayed, and people thought I was nuts. Here we sit. I don't think Fable's coming this year. I don't think the Halo game's going to get a whole lot of nominations, to be quite honest with you. The campaign evolved. No, I don't think so. Forza will get a lot of noms. Gears of War could get some noms. But I don't think the Halo game will get any nominations. We've seen almost no Fable gameplay. The developer direct was a pretty strong indication to me that the game is not even close to being ready. They were very choosy with what they showed. It was very chopped up. It was very clunky, highly edited. There wasn't a single bit of open world gameplay. It was very, very highly controlled for a game that is supposed to be launching within 6 months of us seeing it. Like, they showed that in February. If it's not out by between August and September, what are you going to do? You're going to go up against GTA 6 with Fable? So that means they would likely want to release it in August or September. Well, there's just no way. Yeah, Mutagenics could land up there. Slay the Spire 2 could land up there. Yeah, don't forget about Mutagenics and Slay the Spire. Yeah. We need a Sifu 2. I don't think Star Fox will necessarily be in contention for any of the awards, but I think we got more from Star Fox yesterday than Fable. Yeah. And I know people are disappointed that it's a remake, but I'm excited. Star Fox 64 is one of the best Nintendo 64 games. It was so fun. I could see Crimson getting a nom. I think the year is too full for Crimson Desert. It just did not have a very strong landing. Even people that love it have lots of caveats and lots of criticisms. I just don't think the gaming press is going to loop back on it. Black Myth Wukong was different. The gaming press was a little bit more tepid to it, but the public adored it, loved it. And I also think there were a lot of people who played Black Myth at launch and didn't review it that worked at those outlets that probably campaigned for it when it was time to vote. When IGN or VGC or these outlets decide to vote, Game Informer and what have you. I just don't think the gaming press felt very, very good about Crimson Desert. Now, to their credit, they've done a ton of great fixes and the game is in far better shape than it was at launch. But you can't ask all those outlets to go re-review a 50 to 80 hour game. That's just ridiculous to expect. Can you go re-review the game and play it all over again and completely reevaluate how the game feels now that it runs better? That's not a reasonable request at all. Every game that launches that's in bad shape, you got to go re-review it and play it for another 50 to 80 hours. That's ridiculous. Do you think that they'll show what the Helix looks like? No, they've now clarified what this is. I was thinking they might walk out with a plastic shell prototype or something, just to give people something for pictures in the media and the press, just so people can kind of continue to create buzz about Xbox and Project Helix. But no. A $5 super chat says, what sleeper games are coming out in 2026 that people don't talk about enough? What sleeper hits? I mean, I thought Mouse PI was a pleasant surprise as a great Doom-adjacent boomer shooter that apparently talked about cheese too much. So I thought that was great. I think Grind Survivors is a sleeper hit that not enough people know about. If you like Survivor-style games like Vampire Survivors and others, Grind Survivors is just so fun. Very, very great game. Perfect for like a Steam Deck or a Portal or something like that if you're wanting some handheld gaming. So I thought that was a good one. Mio Memories in Orbit's a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, Beast of Annihilation could come out of nowhere. No, not Annihilation. Beast of Reincarnation. And then there's Tides of Annihilation. And then Blood of the Dawnwalker. Yeah, Blood of the Dawnwalker, Tides of Annihilation, and Beast of Reincarnation. Those could all be games that come out and really wow. Tides of Annihilation looks like it has a lot of performance issues to overcome. Blood of the Dawnwalker, people kept saying it looks and feels old gen. I think people forget what big, huge open world games like that are going to look like. You're not going to have big, huge open worlds where you're like going up and interacting with NPCs and having conversations with like a random person. Like, I just don't know. I mean, Yote did a very, very good job, but I also think Yote is a very different style game. Because but even Yote, when you interact with like a random NPC, they look very wooden and very stiff because it's all automated. Yeah, but I think those are some definite games. I don't know why people were so down on Blood of the Dawnwalker. I thought it looked great. I don't know. Ocarina of Time remake, that could be amazing. Especially if they give it a sort of a Breath of the Wild injection of like, I don't know. What the heck? How did I mute myself? Did I reach down and touch the Steam Deck? I must have bumped it with my mouse or something. Speak up. Can you hear me now? I don't know what I did. Creature did it? I mean, I can do it on the Steam Deck. That was the best the stream ever sounded. Why did you ruin it? Okay, Zoob. Okay, Zoob, that's fine. Something's wrong. I can hear him again. All right, I'm going to ping the Discord. All right. There's a link in the chat. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull up the thing. No, they don't even have it on the channel yet scheduled. All right. Stream holding, save image. There we go. All right, here we go. Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be a co-stream of the Xbox Game Dev Update. Now, I'm going to forewarn you. They just announced on Twitter, Jason Ronald, the guy with the big, long, glorious beard, he just announced on Twitter that this Xbox Game Dev Update is just going to be largely a recap of things they said at the GDC. Now, if you missed the GDC presentation about Project Helix, then this could be a great place for you with new information and new things to learn about. But if not, if you've already kind of heard it, that's, fair to be not all that interested. So there's a link in chat for those of you coming from the previous stream where we did a waiting room for this, and I'm going to end that stream and bring folks over with Redirect. If you guys enjoy the content here, we typically do waiting rooms for showcases, events, trailers,